Good morning, my name's Linda and welcome to group. To all our new members, it's great to have you with us. I'm in Brisbane, Australia at the moment and I'm a trauma recovery coach. Welcome, and today I want to talk to you about something completely different than I was going to start off with. If you're here with me live, comment down below. Say good day, mate, because we're in Australia, and if you're here for the replay, do a hashtag replay. It's wonderful to have you join in. So I can see your name come up. If you just hit the link that's up above, then I'll be able to see your name and interact with you. It's great to be here. Today we're going to do Motivational Monday or Motivation Monday. And I really want to talk to you about toxic people. And if we're honest, I want to talk to you about toxic family members predominantly because they happen to be so close to us and can be the cause of a lot of distress because there is a lot of miscommunication that goes on. And I've just had it happen this morning, so it's all fresh and hot off the press. Okay, so in light of my toxic family who have yet again cut me off, and I have to say, it shouldn't shock me, but it does that they continue to behave the same. And you just think, wow, you know, there is no helping those who will not help themselves, okay? So we're in here and we want to break free from the anxiety for starters, and we want to live valuable lives, productive lives, lives that give back. And in order to do that, we have to have the courage to break free from toxic people. Now, so what does that look like? If you want to join in the broadcast, just hit the link so I can see your name. It's wonderful to have you here. So first of all, we need to know what our values are, and it helps us to understand with the toxic people, one, their values aren't aligned with ours, okay, and they never will be. Unless they go off and have major help, which they never do, they don't believe they need help, things will not change, okay? Except that they have different values. And the thing with different values is that, so my values when it comes to communication are, no matter how angry we are, no matter how upset, no matter the challenge, we sit down and we talk it out. What you'll find with toxic people is they'll keep pointing the finger at you. You're the one with the problem. And I just got told this morning that it's best that I go and seek professional help. That's from somebody who's been married and divorced 5 times and none of it was their fault. Okay? So stick with your values. They come out and they show. Your values shine because you stick with them and you live with them, no matter how hard it gets with people who are toxic, okay? Just think of, if you ever watched or ever read anything about Meghan Markle, the actress who just married Prince Harry. All her toxic family came out in the press and got plastered everywhere, and she never said a word. And what happens is, other people can see that these people are toxic, okay? Simply because they keep opening their mouth. All right? Now, that might sound awful, and I don't like saying it, but it's just the reality. I tell people who are going into court and they're really super worried about what the outcome will be to remember that the judge can see straight through these toxic people. I actually experienced it. And then I've had a number of people I know go to court and they experienced it as well. The judge sees through their BS, okay? We've got to build a resilience in us to having time apart from them in order that when we let them back into our lives, even just a little bit, we go, yeah, nah, I'm going back to having time apart, all right? It is hard. And look, it's heartbreaking because of the very nature of our hearts, which is that we just want to have love and peace and joy and spread it around. It's really hard when these people want anything but, and their actions show it repeatedly. So they leave us with no choice. We have to make a choice by default to keep moving on, because they won't make a choice to sit down and have the hard conversations, and to sit down and self-reflect and say, hey, yeah, I could do that better, or I'm sorry, you know, this is what's happened, and more. I mean, I look at what I do with my adult kids, and we will sit down and we will talk it out and we will sort it out no matter how bad the situation is. And that's why we have good relationships. Good relationships, whether they're personal, whether they're professional, they're not built in the easy times, they're built in the hard times, okay? Because it's in the hard times that the real person comes out. They show their colours, all right? So if you were ever to go into a relationship, one of the questions that you need to know is, how does this person act in the tough times? Because once you're married, it gets magnified by 10, okay? So you really got to know this sort of stuff. Yeah, drop the guilt. Say no to fear and guilt. It takes time to build our mindset and our heart set, okay? So it's not just about mindset for us, especially with anxiety. It's about our heart set. Reframing our life, which means that we put a whole different language around what we want out of life, instead of who we had to be in order to make these toxic people happy. And once we begin to realise that we feel like a performing monkey in a circus around our family. Sorry, I have to use family at the moment because it's front and centre for me. It's like they give you the message, either act this way and be this way and do these things, or you're not part of the family. Okay, no worries. I'd rather get on and have my life mean something than be a performing monkey, which is turning me inside and out, upside and down, and making me sick. All right? Yeah, I feel really passionate about it this morning. Okay? I don't want to be sick anymore. I want to live my life with meaning and conviction and purpose and passion. I do not want to live my life according to the rules that have gone on for generations. Not happening. Get with the program. I am a kind, caring, loving person. I make mistakes. Heck, I tell my kids, okay, I changed the generations for how I raised you. Now you need to go and change the generations how you raise your kids. Do it even better than me, okay? Because let's face it, there's heaps more information to get a hold of in order to raise healthy kids, all right? So let's do this. Thoughts. Now, this is really important, especially when we get triggered, we're having anxiety, and it's overwhelmed, all right? Always seek professional help outside of ourselves, all right, to understand what's happening for us, the bigger picture. Don't operate in a void, and don't operate alone, okay? Basically the same thing, but they actually bring up two different emotions. When I got a message from this wonderful family member this morning, who I don't actually see, we were only communicating on Facebook, the first thing I did was ring somebody that knows the journey that I've walked to get this far and say, hey, have I got this upside down? And, you know, because you walk with people like that, they're able to remind you of what you're aiming for, okay, what you want out of life, and that this person, really, they just want you to be responsible for how they feel, and they want to blame you for everything instead of facing up to what they can look at, what they can examine, what they can change, okay? Relationships, connections, they're mutual. And when we do our best to communicate and there's nothing else we can do, then we have to go back to whatever step it was. Step 2, limits. start separating yourself from them and having time that builds great joy into your life, okay? Clarify your vision for your life, okay? You might not know this bigger picture. Your purpose might be unfolding one day at a time as you go through recovery, and that's okay. That's a good thing. That's the only way I got here. One step, one day at a time. Then, once you've clarified your vision about what you want for your life, even if you don't know how you're going to get that vision to happen, all right, that doesn't matter. That's not the point. Have the vision that, listen, I really would like this for my life, all right? Think about somebody that you admire. So, for me, I really, really admire the work that Mother Teresa did. In a time and age when there was no internet, she was a single nun who went into a part of India where the law said she couldn't do what she was doing, okay? And she just started doing it irrespective of what the law said, and went on to help millions, well, I don't know about how many, but millions. She helped a significant number of people lead better lives, all right? And if that's your vision and you say, I just want to help one person at a time, that's a good vision. That's how I started, I don't know, over 20 years ago now. Look, if this helps one person, then I will have done my job, okay? And then as you walk it, it gets bigger. So when you buy into that vision and you feel really strongly about it, and toxic people come along and want to dump on you, you then say to yourself, is it worth me sacrificing my vision in order to be what others want me to be, in order to conform to what I know would make them happy and comfortable? So in one part of my family, if I don't bring up the past at all in any way, shape or form, that'd make them happy. Do I want to forego my vision in order to fit into a mould that makes them happy? Or do I want to keep working towards the vision even though it brings tears to me that I can't have peace with my family? And if our vision is big enough and we build that into us, then we go, look, I'm really sorry that I can't meet your needs at all because there's nothing I can do when you're keeping on the same cycle. And me. We can't change other people, but we can build life, light, and increase into our lives. Okay? And yes, think of Meghan Markle. Her whole toxic family came out into the public, and she couldn't say a word because she married into the royal family. But our actions speak more than our words. So it doesn't matter what people say. How they're acting will always let other people know that, you're not the one with the problem, okay? Because if you have a problem, you actually go and seek help. Big difference than saying, other people are responsible and I've never made a mistake in my life. Okay, so I want you to acknowledge when they do try and make you responsible for how they feel. This is a hard one to recognise. Well, I certainly found it really hard to recognise in the beginning. I didn't understand this concept at all because I'm so used to sorting out how I feel and where I'm going that I didn't realise that other people didn't take responsibility for how they felt. So consequently, I used to take it on and try and solve everybody's problems. Primarily, you will find that in their communication with you, that they never make mistakes and they never need help, and the mess of the relationship between the both of you is because of you. Okay? Now, in that precise moment, walk. It'll be hard. Get professional help, see a therapist, see your coach. See somebody who knows you for who you really are, the kind, compassionate, caring person who makes mistakes and will do something about it. And don't listen to the toxic person, okay? because it brings down their negativity and their inability to want to even work towards having a communication, brings us down, all right? And we can't do that anymore. We've got a bigger vision than this person over here who says, oh yeah, it's all your fault. And even when you listen to that, isn't it like a child in a playground? Yeah, it's all your fault. So maybe we need to examine whether they're just being childish and they haven't grown up, that they're a child in an adult's body. Possible. Have compassion for yourself and compassion for them, and be at peace, because tomorrow everything can change again. It's hard. Anxiety causes us to want certainty, but the reality is, as we go through recovery and experience life, we know that it can all change tomorrow. Currently, that arm of the family are blaming me for a lot of things that I actually had nothing minimal to do with, but that's okay, because as we become stronger, that it's a part of life that happens. We're able to take more responsibility, and we're able to have compassion for ourselves that we can't solve those problems. We cannot solve nor change how other people view us. We cannot help them to see our kindness, our heartfelt motivation to have peace. We can't change that. We have to let it go. We have to have the compassion for ourselves that we know that we've tried everything to communicate. And look, sometimes my ability to communicate isn't there, but those that are close to me know that I will, no matter what, I will try my best to work out where the miscommunication is, because I'm aware as a human being that I may not have communicated myself well. All right. Hi. Hi. If you just go up and hit the link, I'll be able to see who's online. It's just to let me know your name. Morning. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're loving the message. If you need to ask me any questions at all about this area, just hit me up with a question now. I'm happy to answer questions, and I'm happy to help you build your resiliency in order to make the hard decisions. And they are hard because they break our heart, okay? It's heartbreaking when we can't sit down and have adult conversations about things that we can change. Like, my adult kids can come to me and say, Mum, you keep doing this. Okay, so one of my big things that I do is when I get tired, I get grumpy and I forget about what's going on around me because I'm so focused on trying to get through the things that I've got to do. And I would not mean to hurt anyone in a million years. But because my kids are adults and they've got my full permission to pull me up if something's going on or if I'm repeating my behaviour, and it's not healthy for me and it's not healthy for them, then we have these hard conversations. And because of that, people that know us know, hi Lisa, people that know us know that we have good, healthy relationships, and we're all different. But that's because we love each other and we're willing to sit down and go, how can I grow through this? How can I change my behaviour? All right. How can I help you? And how can I keep loving you even though we've had either a disagreement in the family? And often we used to sit down and have family meetings so that we could each go around and talk about what's happening for us in the situation. And in that way, I taught all of them to sit down and resolve things amongst themselves. But when we're dealing with toxic people, they don't want to sit down and ask questions. They want to sit down and say, this is how it is. You're the one with the problem. Go sort yourself out. You know, I'm cutting you off. Okay? Oh, toxic people will cut you off in the blink of an eye. They will not sit down and initiate conversation. And they do this for a couple of reasons. One, attention seeking, all right. Two, they want you to take responsibility for how they feel. You know, it's all your fault for how I feel. And they don't want to take any responsibility for what they've done. And they will minimise how you feel about the situation as well. So they bring it down to, well, you know, how you feel is like this and how they feel is like this. And we as individuals feel like the overwhelm of their emotions. So if somebody's beginning to make you feel, or if you're in a situation where you're beginning to feel this, you know, and we're very sensitive, this overwhelm, then that's your first clue to sit back and go, hey, I need to examine what's happening here. And with complex PTSD, this can be a challenge for us because of our brain, from the trauma and our brain development. We can go straight into the emotions instead of being able to sit there and go, hang on a sec, what's really happening here? And that's the logical part of our brain that we need. So years ago, I used to go away from conversations like this because we'd have conversations about, you know, what happened or whatever, disagreements. And I'd sob my heart out. I'd be brokenhearted. I believed I did all the wrong things. I believed I was worthless. I believe guilty of, you know, causing disruption. Oh, you name it. Why couldn't I just, you know, be a good team player and participate like the rest of the family? Well, the reality is that there was no two-way conversation, okay? No two-way, there was no ability to sit down as two adults and sort through it together. And it's even harder when the other person won't talk. And they won't talk because they believe that they're right. And that's one of the hardest things we come up against, is people who will not get help or will not sit down and say, hey, let's have a conversation about this, are the hardest people to walk away from. But they're the people that we need to walk away from in order that we have and continue to seek our vision for our lives. Otherwise, if we don't do that, then we continue to live under, in my case, it would be to live under generations of my family's beliefs that in order to be acceptable, you must behave in this manner, you must do this at this time, or otherwise we're going to tell you you're the one with the problem. Okay? I love you all heaps. Thanks for joining in. If you hit the link, the eCam link, I'll be able to see your names come up and it'll make it easier. Now, please, before I finish, please feel welcome to ask me questions. I'll be back on again tomorrow at the same time with another hot topic. How can we use this to motivate us this week? Because it is Monday and we want to be motivated. And I know this is a really tough topic. How can I be motivated? I want you to be motivated towards your vision. We can't focus on what we don't have with our family, but we can focus on and be motivated towards our vision, taking one step once a day towards recovery, towards overcoming our anxiety. And the fact is, when they walk away from our lives, it's initially, I used to believe it would be the worst thing that happened, but it wasn't. It actually turned out long term, and you've got to have a long-term vision, remember? It actually turned out long term, it was for the best. Okay, and it was probably best that I'm not in their life because I push their buttons. Okay, that's a positive to look forward to too. All right, any questions or comments, hit me up down below. I'm always happy to answer them or look for answers for you. It's been great to share time with you this morning. I'll be back same time tomorrow, and I look forward to chatting with you then. Okay, bye for now.